25 years ago, I sold my soul to the devil to become a corporate executive. I quit it all to play the blues. My name is Tom the Suit Force, and this is Chasing the Blues. Hey everybody, this is Tom the Suit Force with another edition of Chasing the Blues Podcast.com. Today we're going to switch gears a little bit and not have a musician or a band on, but somebody really in a way important because they bring the blues. As a matter of fact, this is Eric Larsen. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thanks.
Oh, that's great. You have a pretty darn big festival, and your festival has won the Blues Foundation's Keeping the Blues Alive Award. You're a two-time recipient of the Perlman Award, which is Keeping the Blues Alive. So we thank you for that, and we're really interested to know some of the background of this. And your festival is called the Chenango Blues Festival, correct?
That's right.
And it's in Norwich, New York State.
Yep, we're in upstate New York.
That's great. I love it there. I play a lot through upstate New York, and it is one of my favorite places. In fact, I'm thrilled to say that recently I was given the Blues Hall of Fame Award from New York, so I'm pretty excited about that, and I do a lot there. So, great. Eric, tell us about the Chenango Blues Festival.
Well, we are a little bit of a throwback kind of group. We're all volunteer. We have no paid staff of any kind. So it's basically a bunch of fans of the music who we started out 27 years ago, and we always say it wouldn't be possible to know less than we did about running a music festival because we didn't know anything whatsoever. And we have, bit by bit, by trial and error and long experience, we've learned a few things along the way and had a lot of fun doing it.
Have you been there since 92?
Well, the festival actually started when a local arts council decided that they would do a fundraising event that was a blues festival. And in retrospect, that seems like not the best path forward to make a lot of money, but that's what they tried to do. Mm-hmm. And it didn't go that well. And we just went as attendees, actually, and I think we were among the 150 or so people who did go. And my sole involvement with...
If I can understand some of what goes on, there's the legal process that we talk about, but there's also the marketing that goes on, correct?
Oh, yeah. We have a committee that exclusively does marketing, and actually my wife is the one that heads that up, and she does a terrific job. And again, it's another example of when we started out. You have to remember 27 years ago, there wasn't even an internet, so it was all buying an ad in the paper and writing a press release, and now it's evolved, of course, to be much more tech-oriented, and she's kind of evolved with that and learned how to, we build our own web page, and we do all of our own subscriber lists and Facebook and newsletters, electronic newsletters, and the professionalism of that is kind of a key component. If you don't handle that well, I think people don't look at you the same way. So it's an important piece for sure.
Plus, during this time, I know you're doing this around August in the summer, and I know you do a couple of different things. You've got some competition. I mean, New York State is a vibrant music scene, and I play some of the festivals there myself. I know there'll be times where all of a sudden there are a couple of festivals happening in the same time period.
Oh, that happens to us every year. And over 27 years, I can't tell you how much sleep we've lost about whatever, the newest, latest, greatest event is that's on our weekend or the weekend before or the weekend after. And we have been able to somehow persevere. I don't know if you can attribute that to skill or luck or a combination of the two, but yeah, there is definitely a lot going on. Upstate New York, you're familiar with the area. It's fantastic here from, mid-June to maybe into September.
Absolutely.
And that's when everybody wants to have their events. So it's just inevitable that there'll be multiple things going on. And we've kind of given up worrying too much about it and figure, you know what, you just have to focus on what you do and try and do it as well as you can and hope that you find an audience for it.
Well, if I look back, say 1992 to today, especially being a musician and involved in marketing myself, I would say that it was a lot easier to get people's attention in 1992 than it is today.
That's a pretty interesting question. It probably was, although the reach of the internet against it is the fact that people are inundated with information on all kinds of things, and so you have a very brief shot at capturing someone's attention, and you have to hope it works. I think you really have to focus on the quality of your event. We find that word of mouth, other blues fans hearing it from someone, if a friend of yours who's into the music tells you it's a great event, that's far more effective than any advertising we can ever conjure up.
Yeah. I wonder, I guess the thing that I'm concerned about as a musician and involved in the marketing is that people have so many options now, so many different things that they can do beyond going out, beyond going to hear music, and to reach them. It's you and 10,000 other folks. Since the Facebook is free, as an example, 1 million people are on it trying to get somebody's attention.
No doubt about it. It really is a challenge. I wish I had a nice packaged up answer about how to meet that challenge. If I did, we'd be deploying it for sure.
Well, if you did, I'd be shutting this thing off right now and asking you to tell me and nobody else.
Yeah, right.
What that is. So
it's unfortunate because quality. There's a lot of quality out there, and it can get lost in the noise. We always feel, and I'm sure many musicians feel the same way. If only you could get someone to listen for 10 minutes, that the quality of what you're doing would, capture them, and probably correct about that. But then, to your point, how do you get that time and attention? It really is difficult. People have a pretty short attention span, and they've got tons of things that are hitting that screen in front of them, and somehow you have to find a way to cut through the murk. And I don't think anybody really understands what the great way to do that is. Like I say, we just default to, we can't answer that question. So what can we do? What can we control? Well, we're just going to control how we manage our event so that people get the message that we want to convey about our event, which is that we're family friendly, we're fan friendly, we're artist friendly. We're not. I enjoy going to the big festivals. I go to several of them every year, and it's fun. But when I have to pay $18 for my beer and stand in a crowd of 30,000 people, it's a different experience. We're doing something a lot different.
Yeah.
And we just want people, if they can understand that, then I think there's a great audience for that, because when you come, you're going to have a different kind of experience, a much more intimate, a much more, if you want to come up and talk to any of us as organizers, no problem. People do it all the time, and it's fun. We enjoy it. We get people's perspective that way, and we've made lots of changes because of fan input that we get from people. So, that's a vibe I think that's getting largely lost in today's music world. You talk about marketing and the internet and getting people's attention, but I think the increasing dominance of the music business by huge companies and huge events, as a music fan, I don't always love everything they're doing. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, boy, you know, you're preaching to the choir. I just got back from a month tour in China, and I have to tell you that it is so different there to get people's attention, and the quality of music generally is more sought after than all the hollering and noise that goes around the marketing. So it is quite different, and I'm hoping it improves, you know. So you have two events, correct? Am I getting this wrong? I know there's the summer concert series as well.
Yes. We kind of have two buckets. We've got the festival held on one weekend in August. But then on every Thursday in July and August, we do a series of concerts in downtown Norwich in a park, and they're all free admission shows. And we try and represent as many different kinds of music as we can lay our hands on. So we might have a blues artist or a bluegrass or a jazz or swing or you name it, reggae. There's probably some kinds of music we've missed over the years, but not a lot.
Yeah, I was pleasantly struck by the different types of music that you do have. That's really great. I also noticed, I went and looked at your roster of musicians for this year, and I know some of them, and some of them actually have been on the show. A friend of mine and someone who was just recently on the show, Joe Louis Walker, an amazing guitar player, singer-songwriter, is one of the acts on this year coming up.
Yes, he played with his band for us quite a few years ago now, and we were very intrigued by his latest release, which is kind of a trio acoustic format, and so we thought that'd be a great thing to put on. So we were lucky enough to be able to work it out with him this year. Yeah,
you won't be disappointed. He and I have the same producer, Grammy winner Paul Nelson, that did both of our albums. So I know him pretty well. As a matter of fact, I may have been the second person to hear his last album because
great.
It was hanging around in the studio before it actually made it to a CD. And man, I was impressed, and since then have, as I say, have had him on the show. I saw that you had a couple of Grammy winners coming too, along with Joe. You want to talk about any of the acts that are coming up?
Well, we always try and have a pretty diverse group. We're trying to represent a lot of different styles, and we feel like we've done that again this year. We worked pretty hard at that. So we have Tab Benoit is headlining on Saturday, and he has appeared for us before. It's been a few years, but always a pleasure to have him around. He's a great performer and a great guy to work with, and fun to go. He's always out after the event too, so he's just a fun guy to have in a festival environment.
Yeah.
And then we've got Downchild Blues Band doing their 50th anniversary tour. We've never had them before, so we're looking forward to that show. Mm-hmm. Of course, they were the inspiration for the Blues Brothers Act, and Dan Aykroyd being from Toronto, where they started up. I guess they had known each other back in the day, so that should be fun. Danielle Nicole was nominated for a Grammy this year, and she's terrific. We have a group of blues fans that serve as kind of our ad hoc. They don't live in Norwich. They don't come to our board meetings, but we consult with them regularly because they go to festivals all over. And she was a person they identified as hey, you got to get this girl to come and play for you because she's fantastic.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, we got Mississippi Heat with Lurie Bell. They're great. One that I'm personally really looking forward to are two shows that we do in the tent is John Tavius Willis, another guy who I have not yet seen live myself, but is coming with the highest recommendations from a lot of fans, and Pokey Lafarge. We've been trying to get him to come for years to either our Thursday concert series or the Blues Festival, and this year he's performing a solo thing for the summer while he works on a recording, and he's a real entertaining, talented guy, and I think that's just going to be a lot of fun and something real different for us.
That's great. Yeah, your lineup is quite impressive. As I say, I know a lot about this because obviously I'm involved in it. doesn't look like a lot of weekender bands. It's really big time groups, and really professional.
Yeah, we pretty much just use national touring artists. We always do love to throw in at least one local artist because, like you say, a lot of these people are pretty talented people that just don't find a way to cut through the fog.
Sure.
But Brian Golden, Experiment, he's a local guy, and he's actually a real good guitar player. And then opening our show on Friday, Gabe Stillman Band. They're from northern Pennsylvania, which is just below our area here.
Right.
And he got the Gibson Guitar Award at the International Blues Challenge this year, and he's a young kid who's really doing a great job. So we always try to work that in, but by and large, yeah, they're people from all over the country, and that's something that we look at, because the styles kind of change in different regions. It's nice to kind of pull from different regions so we can hear a little bit of everything.
Oh, absolutely. And then, it doesn't, this is sometimes a situation that people in the hometown aren't as recognized because they're from the hometown. And I notice that, festivals like to grab people just because they're from a different area. And sometimes you do have some really great players locally.
Yeah, that's why it makes a lot of sense to me to do some of both, Get somebody from the West Coast, get somebody from Chicago, get somebody from New Orleans, and then put on a couple local people so that, you might be coming to see that guy from the West Coast, but you're also going to get some exposure to some local people.
Yeah, that's great. So let me ask you, Eric, it sounded like you were kind of drawn into this, being an organizer. Are you a musician as well?
I am not, and I get this question all the time, and we always say, you know what, we're the best friends of musicians, we're just business people. And that's true of virtually everybody on our committee. We do have a couple of musicians, and they're tremendously helpful to us because they bring a different perspective. But what we're really here for is we're here to take care of all the nuts and bolts. We're going to make sure that the rider requirements are in place. The sound guys know what they're doing. We've got the vendors set up and the power's right and the lights are right. And we got people to do parking and all the little things that go into making a comfortable, fun, professionally done show.
Right.
We take care of that part and we let the musicians take care of the talent part.
Well, as a musician, I appreciate that. I got to tell you.
We hear from a lot of musicians that say they are kind of surprised. They come to a very rural area, which we are, and I think their production expectations are, modest when they come. Mm-hmm. And we always try and give them a pleasant surprise. We have really top-notch people all the way around, sound guys, staging. Everything is really at the highest professional level. So, as you know, and as you said, musicians love that.
Yeah. So tell me, the weather. I know in upstate New York, man, it can be pretty brutal up there, even in the summertime. Have you had any times where you went, man, this is going to be dead?
Well, we've been doing this for 27 years in upstate New York, so that pretty much answers that question right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have had some. We've had everything from the most beautiful 82 degrees and sunny to blisteringly hot to freezing cold to pouring rain. We've actually overall been very fortunate. The vast majority of them have had, at least something that would be in the tolerable range. But yeah, we've had everything from, near washouts to the best days you could ever wish for. And we have contingency plans so that we can move things around. One of our shows is under a large tent. And because we rent our local fairgrounds to use, we do have an exhibition hall. So we have the capability, if we had to basically move everything undercover.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's not as good that way. We can't accommodate quite as many people that way, but our feeling has always been, if it's that bad, you probably won't need to fit as many people.
Yeah.
The reality is that even on some, pretty questionable days, blues fans are a very hardy group, and you don't have as good attendance on a pouring rain day as you have on a beautiful day, but you have surprisingly good attendance anyway. We had a festival where it rained from the minute we opened to the minute we closed, and we had 2,000 people who sat out there with their umbrellas and their raincoats and pretty much just toughed it out the whole day. So
yeah,
hats off to them.
That's a
strong group.
That's an ardent fan. That shows that your festival has a lot of loyalty. So that's great. So
we do have some good fans.
A lot of times listeners on this show like to hear about maybe a blues legend that you are particularly fond of. Do you have somebody that you would mention?
Well, in our group, we are universal in saying that the day we went from the days of being 175 people to being noticed by more fans and becoming more of a national event was the year that Luther Alluson came. It was our 4th year, and we had always had a national act. Kenny Neal was our first headliner.
Yeah.
But then it would be local bands before that, and we were constantly striving to get somebody, with as high a name recognition as we could find, and we really kind of got lucky in getting Luther Alluson, and that was right at the time when he was kind of being rediscovered in the United States. He'd been in Europe, I think, for quite a while before that, and his performance was unbelievable. He just played for, I think it was about 2.5 hours straight.
Wow.
And he was such a great individual. You could never ask to meet a nicer person than he was. So, as just a little story about that, for years we'd been trying to get Dinosaur Barbecue. I don't know if you're familiar with them. At that time, they were just out of Syracuse. Now it's a chain that's all over the Northeast and beyond.
Yeah.
And we wanted them to be a vendor because we thought that would really bring something. And so the first year we did it, they said, I don't think so. And the second year, no, I don't think so. Always asking us who was playing. And so in year 4, we call them again, would you be willing to come down? It would be so great for us. I don't know who you're going to have. And we said, Luther Alluson. And they said, oh, well, okay.
Wow.
So that was the year that put them over the top. We were going to have somebody that was big enough for them to want to be able to come down. And that was just kind of, I think, emblematic of how everyone felt, because our attendance probably doubled that year because everybody did the same thing. They looked and went, oh, wow, Luther Alluson, so we feel like he really kind of made us.
Yeah, those listeners who maybe don't know, it's Luther Alluson, is Alluson. He is well known, but if you don't know him, he was with Howlin' Wolf back in 1957, and unfortunately, like a lot of earlier blues artists, he died young. He died at 58, and it wasn't. He had an illness.
I think he had brain cancer, and actually that was 1 year after he played for us.
Wow,
yeah,
really?
He was. Yeah, wow. He was in as good a health as you could be in, I guess, when he performed for us, and we heard 7 or 8 months later that he'd fallen ill, and I think it was just after our festival the following year that he passed away. So
you're right. You're right, because he died in August of 97. So and he was actually signed to Motown Records, which is a big deal. He was signed in 1972. In fact, I was listening to one of my favorite blues tunes, "I Can't Quit You, Babe," and man, his voice is amazing, just amazing. And if people want to check that out, it's Luther Alluson. So tell us how folks can get tickets and information on your festival, Eric.
Well, we have a website, so if you just Google Chenango Blues Fest, which is CHENANGO, I'm sure it will come right up. We have a very nice web page, and we've got links to tickets and performers' bios and vendors and directions and all the usual good stuff that you can find on website. It's all there.
Yeah, www.chenangobluesfest.org.
That's it.
That's the place to go. I'll tell you, everybody, if you're looking for a blues festival, first of all, upstate New York is absolutely gorgeous in the summer. Great place to be, a real vibrant area. And this is a really great festival. It is not some of the festivals are smaller and that's cool, and some are larger and that's cool. But this sounds like you've got some great artists and vendors, and this sounds like a really great thing to come to. So congratulations on that, Eric, and I hope people will check that out. What is the exact date of this year's festival?
This year we are August 16th and 17th.
August 16 and 17. All right. And that's in Norwich, New York.
That's it.
Thanks.
Come on up. You're going to have a great time.
That's great. And I checked the almanac, and weather's going to be great.
There you go.
So, and you know how accurate that is.
Hey, we're going to count on it anyway.
Well, thanks so much, Eric. We appreciate your time and hope everybody has a good time at the festival.
All right, great. It was fun talking to you.
Thanks. Chasing the Blues is recorded at Factory Underground Studios in Norwalk, Connecticut. You can learn more about Factory Underground at factoryundergroundstudio.com. And connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Tom the Suit Forced. You can find my music, tour dates, merch, and more on tomthesuitforce.com. Thank you for listening.
I've seen some guitar players down in Bourbon Street. They're blazing fast and they knock me off my feet. I've heard some six-string slaves in Memphis, Tennessee. Plays live with a bottle, fast as big as I've ever seen. But they play fast, going down the door, going up and down that neck till the crowd cries out for more. But blazing fast ain't everything. If you can't play slow and lay it down like a king. When I'm up on stage, I'm ripping it up pretty good. I play fast and loud like they think I should. Sometimes I remember that the song is the king, and slow it down until she cries when I bend those strings. I may play fast and I may play loud, tearing up that neck, really working up the crowd. But speed don't really mean a thing if I can't play with soul and lay it down like a king. I've seen the king stroke the guitar neck like